Good afternoon, everyone. BC Richfield here, coming to you live from London. It's a little bit noisy here today, everyone. It is a bank holiday Monday here, so there are works going on in and all around me at our place on the coast today. So apologies for any noises, but a big shout out to everybody tuning in live today, as well as everybody that's watching this on recording. So what do we want to cover today? Well, normally kind of take bank holiday Mondays off, but really did want to kind of jump on a stream with everyone today. I really do think, as is kind of I lined up yesterday with my thoughts on the Bitcoin report, which you guys can get access to just by joining our free Discord. So we've got it open at the moment. I think we're looking at it for around about 60 days from when we kicked this off. I think it was a few weeks ago. So do come and join us still. You can get access to that. The link is down in the description. I'm sure somebody will share it in the chat as well. So do let us know. And obviously, if you've got any questions about that, you can hit us up on there, or you can come and grab me on Twitter at BC_Richfield. But basically, it's all access. You get access to the courses, the Discord, the calls, which have been astronomically successful. Got a few up here at the moment. Just picked one of our new traders, as well as obviously the legend himself, Jay, the trading tank. Just been absolutely crushing the swing calls. I deal with more of the intraday stuff as well, so you can come along and join my live trading sessions. But if you're interested in any of that, please find it in the description. It's all for free at the moment. You can just join straight in through the Discord. No catch, no sign up. And enjoy yourselves. So really, really big shout out to all of you as well. Simon, Call Me Sledge, Hassan, as well as everybody else that's in the chats there. So without further ado, let's crack on and take a look at Bitcoin, shall we? So one of the really key things that I'm looking at the moment are these kind of key levels on the 4-hour chart here on Bitcoin. Okay, now we can see, historically how these levels kind of play a part. I like to break these areas down into ranges, right? So we've got the upper range here between the two lines, okay? The solid lines split in the middle with this, and then below. Now, what's quite interesting here as well is there is another level that I'm just looking at in terms of what's capping price action at the moment more than anything, okay, which is this. So this is a really, really kind of interesting level for me. We can see prices fail to kind of get up and close above it, but I really do like the draw of these equal highs above Bitcoin. That basically we've just got these key liquidity levels being split with these ranges. I think once we really commit to being back in this upper range here, so that's from here to here, yeah, via this midline. In fact, let me take this one out for a moment so it doesn't confuse anyone, okay? So that's what we're looking at there. Now, basically, when we're looking at ranges, you're looking for strength and weakness. So what happens is you want to see price reclaim a level. A very good example of that is here. When price broke into this level here, you notice that if we're looking at the range low here, that we didn't really get that retest, unlike what we got here. Look how price, when it came back up here, it kind of held this level. I don't mind these dips below. To quote the legend himself, SC, deviation, what happens? Climb back in, yeah? In which case, excuse me, we're then looking for this range to hold. We're looking for reactions around the midline and then for any retests of the range low or deviations or rejections from the range high. So what does that mean for price and where we currently sat? Well, if we overlay this with our principles of liquidity, and we're looking at this on a daily scale here, we've got this daily gap below us, right? Now, this daily gap is really of interest to me because I'm always looking for price to move from liquidity to liquidity. You want to find out if these gaps where there's been a failure of order pairing, right, which open. So basically, think of it in these terms. Think about it that when price was going up here, the same as it did here in this gap, right? And this is the gap, obviously, that we're looking at here, that, buyer pressure was so strong on the way up, yeah, that, these orders, this basically look at it like slippage, right? It's going up at such a rate. Now, the market likes to rebalance these areas. So once we take liquidity from a high or from a low, then we look to see if price wants to revisit a gap. Now, although we didn't take out what you would say is a local high over here, which we actually did after I wrote the report here, we can see we've had this sweep now. We did also take out this high here, just an internal high. Now, we've taken that liquidity. My plan now, especially for bullish continuation, is to see price pull back, as I said in the Bitcoin report here, to this gap, the daily gap overlaid with a 4-hour gap as well, which we'll look at. And ultimately, I think this thing looks really, really primed to make a move on the all-time high. However, we do need to be aware of the levels that are around us, right? So that's what we're going to look at over here. Now, I really, really like the way that the 4 hours shaped up here. The plan for me anyway is for price to drive down into this area down here. We want it to take some liquidity, which we've now done. And then, as we said, we've got this liquidity sweep from the high. This looks to be the draw lower. And now, if the buyers were here with such aggressive presence previously, then, you know, why wouldn't we expect them to be there now? Yeah. That is very interesting. Kambala coin to the White House. Each to their own. So now we're back here. Look, reaction down into here. What does this do? Induce shorts, right? So if price comes up, we're looking like we're not going to hold this level. People see this as a key support resistance level. People see price back down below this now and think, wow, you know, this thing is going to, you know, drop like a stone. A lot of people, a lot of prominent people out there, you know, looking to short or be short this market. Now, I think it's a dangerous game to play when you're holding bullish market structure and you've got it. But look, each to their own, right? Everybody has their different systems and people are either successful or unsuccessful with those. The key for me is consistency. So what's the trading plan? Like, the trading plan for me just could not be more simple. Now, we've got the gap. As long as we continue to hold this bullish gap and this level, then I'm a buyer. I'm looking for buyers as low down as I can get them here. On the lower time frames, I'm looking for structure breaks. I'm looking for momentum to come into the market, looking for impulse, right, to moves higher. What does that look like? Well, if we just imagine this is our level here, or this is the sweep, or this is the fair value gap, the gap here that we're looking to react from, then what I'd want to see is a low set, that low taken out. Okay, so sweep a low whilst we're engaging with a key level or a gap. Then I want to see the break above that. I want to see a high energy move telling me that buyers are stepping in here. And then I can look to be a buyer in here. And I know exactly where I'm wrong. Now, obviously, it wouldn't obviously be to scale because you wouldn't exactly have a great risk to reward there. But that's what I'd be looking for on the lower time frame. So as we drop down now, I'm going to move down to a 15-minute chart. And this kind of initial move, we're getting this very late in the London trading session. All right, we're just hitting kind of lunchtime over here now. Obviously, we're on a bank holiday as well, but that doesn't stop, obviously, the US markets and all those key drivers. So for me, again, I'm just looking to be bullish while I'm getting these bullish signs. All right, so if we're here on the M15 and we continue to hold this, we've had this nice move up, right? Look, price came in. We've had this through Asia here. Price has sold off during London. Continuation in London, but look what happened as soon as we touch this green box right now. Obviously, it's not just a magic green box. What it is a gap. So the green line signifies what we're looking for, a drive down into this gap. Doesn't have to be that. That could be it right there. It might come down a little bit more. The key thing is that until we get a 4-hour close below that, right, 4-hour close below this box here, then I'm not even considering being bearish here. And I'll tell you for why. Big 4-hour gap supporting us here. Big daily gap over us here as well. A lot of bullish momentum into the market. And as we take a look down here as well, we've got support from our equity markets showing that there's a decent appetite for risk at the moment. Now, DXY is okay as well, sitting quite flush. We know that correlation has been a little bit shaky for some time, as has Bitcoin's correlation with the indices. However, it's always good, or I always think that it's prudent to check that. We've got the US 10s and 2s down, or actually 10s are flat today. The 2-year is down a little bit as well. So we're looking to see if we get this kind of, you know, this risk on sentiment in the market. Now we look at our noise, a little bit. Cointelegraph out this morning, Bitcoin price dip gone by September. 5 things to know about Bitcoin this week. BTC price stopped at 65k. FET and other AI tokens skyrockets as BTC has that cooling off period. You look at those key narratives, you look at those areas where there's the most interest, and those sectors can really, really pop. We've been doing it, or the team have been doing it incredibly well over at the Bird Nest. You can come and have access to all of those calls. For example, as we kind of looked at earlier, from the trading tank call as well with PopCat. Look, identifying those key areas, memes, what are linked to them, what's hot at the moment, what looks good technically, putting that all into a setup, and then you apply the skill set of somebody like the trading tank, and then that's how we get through. You get access to all these calls in the group, you get access to the P&L. We're completely transparent. All of the calls are made through here, Discord and Telegram. Again, not something I would suggest people use as a long-term strategy. It's great, come in, earn some money with us, but I would say it's more about learning from a professional trading team that are doing this day in and day out. Not just posting the odd thing here and there on Twitter, a full P&L, access to all the calls and full transparency. But that's the key thing. And really, AI has been that narrative for quite a while, right? I mean, it's very, very difficult to fade AI. Anyway, aligning those factors and just looking at our technicals here, this is what I want to see here. I think the equal highs resting up here are a huge draw on price. Here, got kind of relative equal highs over here as well. And I'm looking for things to get a little bit of an expansion here. Okay, so, here's the sweep. What do we want to see? You want to see price come back down and you want to see it get up here. I do think that we're going to make a move. And then I really want to see what happens when we get here to this midline. All right. Now we can see here what has happened, see how it acted as support here. Then we flip this level. This then turned to resistance. We got back above it here with a strong move. See price breaking down here as well, right? And when you look at that and we zoom in on that area, you can just see how nice these areas get that support and resistance flip, yeah? So look, when you're in these areas, support here, support here, support here, price wicking down, finding buyers and then moving higher, all right? Little surprise that we didn't take out range high in this area, but again, you don't have to. A lot of catalysts can kind of affect this market as well, especially something of a beta risk asset like Bitcoin. So when we look at this, again, we get that strong close, or what I call a strong close down below. Price failed to get back above here. So we can see this is a key pivot point in the market. Support, again, flip to resistance here. So when we look at that, we can see that that's a key decision-making area. So that's where I want to look to either mitigate risk there or wait for price to then, again, come to this level. Again, we like these highs here as well. So maybe price does something like this, pushes up into these highs, kind of gets back down here. Again, the idea of this market a lot of the time is to induce people, to send people in the wrong direction. We see a rejection here. People get bullish a bit too late in this move on the way up, go over leverage. The market comes back down, takes out that leverage, resets the dial in that respect. And then we get ourselves back above this level, establish it, and then that's where we can look to be buyers ultimately up to the range high. And in truth, above the range high and towards all-time highs as well, I think is entirely plausible. Now, not the kind of trader or person that kind of makes these predictions. I think it's going to this price. I think it's going to that price. Much prefer to play these level to level. That's just how I trade. And I think we just got really, really clean and currently very bullish levels out in front of us. So we've got 46 seconds until the 15-minute closes here. Now, something you could do if you wanted to add a little bit of extra confluence to this move is wait for the order block here to be set, this large down close candle, drawing down into a bullish gap. I really, really like that. So you could look for this level here to be closed above on a 15-minute scale. That should then give a good indication if we get that close above that, price is certainly seeking liquidity higher. And we've got it in the forms of these highs resting all the way over here and then obviously up towards our key target, which is resting up there. Now, that is currently sat at 65,659 here on Binance. So again, while we hold this level, feeling bullish, if we do come down and close below this gap here, inverting the gap, you'll see me change that to purple, then it's an indication for me that price isn't really finished with this move lower yet. Maybe it's coming back to clear out some more liquidity. We've got a key low resting here. Why is it a key low? Well, for me, because of the really long downside wick. This is normally a sign of absorption, but we saw it here as well when it came in. Price came back down for it again. So state of play today on Bitcoin, holding this area here, which we need to remember at the moment is still green. And I think price is looking good to move higher. However, if we do start to kind of break down here, we close below this M15 gap, could be just an early indication that price needs to correct a little bit lower to seek its liquidity targets. Yakuza Kana, hello, my friend. Crypto God, welcome, welcome, welcome. So for me, really, really kind of simple state of affairs here on Bitcoin. Now, one other thing that I do want to take a look at is just how wonderfully bullish this candle was. This was like the mother of engulfing candles here, right? We saw a big engulfing candle here, for example, sent the market up. This one here didn't do so well, right? But again, this actually a really, really nice move. This off the back of a bullish pin bar candle here. Yes, it's a bearish color, but the form of it with a long downside wick and very short nose tells us that that was a bullish candle. Price really struggled getting above this level, right? And this is a prior all-time high here, right? From back in November 21. It's been a key level that we've been talking about a lot, I think, in fact, since 2021, obviously. And some of these old highs and lows play such a significant role in the market. Now, we can see that this is the level ultimately capping the upside. All-time high is set here. We have left this really lovely batch of untapped sweeping highs here, providing lots and lots of liquidity above price. So we know the levels. We continue to hold this level here. And I think it makes sense that we push up higher, okay? But the key thing for me coming off the back of that is just how bullish this candle is. We had this huge, huge bearish engulfing candle here, one of the biggest candles we've seen on Bitcoin on a weekly scale. And price, ultimately, when you see something like that, you're then saying to yourself, right, price is getting bearish here. And actually, really, the signs were there from before. All these consecutive bearish candles, price coming into the liquidity below this low, drawing higher. Very sneaky thing was we inverted this gap here, looking like price was going to push up. Ultimately, the warning signs when we got this doji candle here, right? Now, it did have a longer downside wick, and I like that. So the assumption was that price was drawing down to this bullish gap here to rebalance and move higher. Closing below that here was then when we said, right, we're now moving to a short bias, not chasing, but trading into these lows here, which we see we took out. Now, the reaction below this low told us a lot. Long downside wick, but also a long upside wick here as well, showing a little bit of indecision. This doji candle here also set an inside bar pattern. So the close above that here leads our expectation that this level, I'll draw that in black, that level here is going to offer support. So as we then break ourselves down through the time frames again, we say, okay, well, look at the confluence that we're building here, right? We've got this level that we're looking for a support and resistance flip. Great. Means that really you normally see price drive back down to this level here for some form of confirmation to re-engage the buyers, to kind of, put a little bit of a squeeze on here as well for everybody that's over leveraged, especially and gone long too late. We've got our daily gap here. We've got our 4-hour gap. We've got a key SR level after a huge daily bullish engulfing candle, the same as we've seen on the weekly. Everything just kind of is setting up to be quite bullish here. So if we take a very quick look over Ethereum, right now we can see here, we've got this kind of key pivot point here. I'm not going to really kind of cover that too much. What I think will maybe be kind of more beneficial to everyone is if we just pop these in a little group. And then take a look at what ETH is kind of telling us here. So one thing that I really like here with ETH is that we continue to hold this bullish gap. All right, now I've said it all along, I'm not looking for shorts in this area. I'm only looking for longs in this respect while we hold this, especially when you get a monster downside move here, taking out equal lows on a weekly scale, holding this gap, but also rebalancing all of these inefficiencies, providing the platform for price to move higher. Now, the kind of caveat here is that we've kind of got an equally large, if not slightly larger, bearish gap above us. And when we're looking at price action in this respect, we're looking for price to move from liquidity to liquidity, right? Rebalancing gaps as it goes. So as we take out liquidity from the lows here, we recover this beautifully, which I love, but we are kind of slamming ourselves right into this bearish gap here. So we do need to kind of show a bit of caution. Now, we can see here on ETH, in contrast to Bitcoin, that, we haven't really had that you know, on Bitcoin, we had that big weekly bullish engulfing candle. We haven't had that here, but we've got a beautiful pin bar candle here. Didn't really love the look of this one, to be honest. A lot of upside action, took the liquidity from the prior week's high and then sold off quite aggressively down to the lows. But I did like the recovery as it continues to hold this gap. If we close below this, I would consider it an inversion, meaning that I would then be looking for price to come and chase down liquidity below the lows. This again is a little bit more of an indecisive candle. It's like a large-bodied doji. Duncan, hello, mate, and welcome. So, you know, currently we're kind of between what you could almost call a rock and a hard place here, right? Because we're delivering from this gap, but it's been rebalanced. My only interest in this gap now is that we hold it, that we don't get a weekly close below it. But technically now we're up in the realms of this bearish gap. That's what we need to be cautious of. However, the way that I look at gaps is, you know, this gap for me has been rebalanced to here. So that's going to be a key level, right? The gap's been rebalanced to there. That's our kind of immediate point of interest if price is pushing up into that higher. Now, on a daily scale, what I really like about it is the fact that we're drawing down into this nice bullish daily gap here. We've got an immediate, for our intraday specialists and traders, people like myself out there, we've got an immediate high as a target here. You know, so price kind of drawing back down into this level here and then expanding up to there is a beautiful 5.3. This is obviously just taken from a very random place. Maybe it kind of goes from here or down here, but you've got like a 7 to a 3.5% move, which is perfect for an intraday play. The thing about that is you can develop these type of moves, take them as an intraday play, make sure, you know, you're quite nimble, or you don't have to, but I certainly like to, and kind of secure the risk pretty early here, because look, we've taken external liquidity here from the high. It's a beautiful high within a fair value gap, making it a key liquidity pool. Now the expectation is, as we said before, if we've taken external liquidity, it's for price to find internal liquidity in the gap and ultimately move higher. So again, that's the play here on a daily scale. For me to get bearish here on an intraday basis and even look to consider anything longer than that in terms of time frame, I would need to see a daily close below this gap, invalidating it. Okay, and that's what I'm looking at. So then on a daily scale, kind of looking at this and saying, well, where are our kind of key levels here? And for me, this is a level of great interest here. And why is it a level of great interest here? Well, we'll take a look historically in a minute, right? But if we look at this particular move here, when price came up, resistance, strong close above, nice big body candle, turned to support. Yes, a resistance, flip, support. Look at all this engagement down here. Support, 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 support. Price diving in, ultimately finding this huge expansion after, again, testing this level. We find support here again now. Price really did not respect this level at all with this close below. So now for me, this becomes a drawback, because as we look, we've got this big bearish gap. We know that's drawing price higher. We see we've got our key support resistance level now looking to be retested as resistance. If price can get and establish itself back above this, then for me, that's really where I'm going to get interested here. Back above here, build this base, right? Take that sweep, establish ourselves here. And this is a great place for us to be buyers. Now, I don't necessarily want to wait that long, right? That's the kind of level I'd be looking at in terms of looking maybe for some more swing positions or more confirmation plays. But at the moment, I'm looking to kind of move this on an intraday basis. Now, moving to the 4 hour and just getting a slightly more granular look on things here. Let's just clean that up a little bit. And I'm just going to get rid of this gap for a moment as well. We know this whole kind of area really in and around this SR level, which again, you can see how much that's had a role to play. And even as we move it back, you know, these lines are never perfect. They're normally a larger area like a box, but look, resistance turns support here. Same look, support, close below, resistance, 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 right? We can see, look, close above, retest here. We can see that there's some significance in the play, okay, or in the level, sorry. So that's what we're going to be watching out for. I think that's where we're really looking to kind of draw higher. Yeah, so all the way back over here. Are there any other levels as we kind of move this in here? I think, I mean, there's a real clear level here as well, right, that we can see has been a factor. Resistance turns support, support, support. This was the springboard to lead price up. So if I was looking at those two levels here, I'd be saying to myself, well, that's the kind of midline of this range. and we can see we're making a really nice reclaim and retest of this here. So I'm feeling pretty bullish on ETH here. Now, obviously Bitcoin can really kind of, draw all the attention from the market and the liquidity as well. So we really need to watch and see how that's playing out. And we want to see that kind of stabilize and hold. As we can see at the minute, it's down about 0.4, 0.45% in and around that, depending on which exchange you are trading with. So overall, feeling pretty bullish on this, guys. I mean, look, if we start to violate some gaps, then I think we could easily have a deeper correction here. Would that have me majorly bearish overall? Not at all. I think, look, if we came down and closed below this gap, then quite simply I'd be saying to myself, all right, look, then we've got this low, these lows resting in down here, maybe even a little bit deeper. But ultimately, I would just want to see this level hold here. As with range plays, if we do get back below the midline here, which would again align with our concept that if we close below this here and we're back down below the midline, right, that's where we can look to maybe be involved in some intraday shorts. Okay, playing it level to level, I'd probably want to secure some risk in and around these lows as well. Just because, look, we're holding a higher time frame gap here. That exact thing could happen here, and you zoom out, and on a daily, that's just a wick leading down the bottom, and the body ultimately held the gap. All right, so we look at this to be a bullish springboard here and move us higher. And like I said, very similar to Bitcoin, we've kind of flipped a really key support and resistance level here. We've got bullish gaps below us supporting price. Now what we just need to do is we need to just see that bullishness enter the market. We need to see that sustained. And with those capital inflows, I think we could really, really push on from here. I think, this could really start to surprise some people. I think if we look at what we've got coming up in terms of news this week as well, and let me just share that with you guys. Week starting the 26th. Okay, we had Jackson's Hole last week, symposium, we had FOMC, we had Powell speak as well. If anything, it was slightly more dovish than hawkish, which I think was really, really good for the markets in terms of a risk perspective. This week, the news is a little bit benign. We're focused on the US markets having that major shift. We've got CB consumer confidence tomorrow, which is at 1400 UTC. Very, very tight forecast on that one. The key thing on here for me that stands out is preliminary GDP quarter on quarter and unemployment claims coming and dropping on Thursday. That's at 12:30 UTC as well, 1:30 London time. And then we go through onto Friday when we have core PCE price index. Now, obviously, all of these have the ability to really kind of paint a picture for, first of all, the state of the economy in America, how manufacturing is recovering, unemployment claims. We've seen, week before last, we had really unemployment claims came really under prediction, and the retail sales were miles above prediction. Now that is ingested by the market and looked at, okay, less people are out of work, more people have money, people are spending more money in the retail sector, meaning they have more disposable income, meaning the likelihood is that they're willing to spend. And if people are willing to spend, then they're willing to invest. We see this stuff in times of quantitative easing, QE, okay? When we look at that coming to the market, like what happened with COVID and people were getting those relief loans, people were getting government payouts, the market went absolutely bonkers. We need to also overlay the fact we're in an election year and we're coming to the end of what should be the biggest kind of historical down period of the year, with September, October starting to really kind of heat up. If you look at previous market cycles, if you look at historical data. So that's kind of got me quite excited there. I am going to keep an eye on these on the news releases. Can often inject some really, really good volatility into the markets if you're intraday trading as well. So that's worth remembering, or not remembering, but certainly, as I always say to people, go and check that out for yourself and see with the correlation. Now, if we're looking at this like we were with Bitcoin, then quite simply, we're reacting from the bullish level we want to react from at the moment. We've taken out Asia's low here, which is a beautiful sweep, something I always keep my eye on. Asia's low and Asia's high, key liquidity pools. What did we say? We want to see that expansion. We want to see that recovery of market structure here. And then we want to see us hold these bullish gaps. Okay, so exactly the same play here as on Bitcoin. This is giving us a really, really lovely area here to be long. So I think while we kind of hold this again, we've got this really, really nice liquidity pools resting above us. Asia's high here as well, which you can look to kind of take some risk off, move your stops flat. And then ultimately, I think, again, these high time frame levels are going to play such a role here. But yeah, feeling very bullish on crypto overall. Just wanted to jump on, do a quick kind of show for you guys today. Really appreciate the time you all give up on a Monday and a Wednesday coming in. So I thought the least I could do on the bank holiday was kind of pop on and say hello. I also wanted to let everybody know that I believe we've got 24 hours left at the moment. You can find down in the description the link to the Discord, which you can join for free. If you can't find it or there's any issues with it at all, please just reach out to us either at the Burb Nest or you can reach out to me directly. Just come along and join for nothing. You get access to all the calls, education, courses, some written by myself, others from the magnificent trading team we've got. The team are running about 78% call success rate. You can see by what we've shared here as well. I don't, for anybody that joins these live shows a lot, I shill very, very little on here. I sell very, very little, but I'm incredibly proud of my team and our team over there and what they've achieved with this. And this really is just a snippet of what you can find. So come along, try it out, be part of a really vibrant community, come and say hi, make some new friends, find some good learning material. And ultimately, we're all there for the same purpose, which is, to make our lives that much better. But I just want to sign off today by saying a really, really big thank you to everybody. We've got several thousand people live again. I always feel blessed to have that with you all. And yeah, I agree, Duncan. Can't wait for the exciting times ahead again. Get back to some of that up only. I think, remember, these markets are incredibly volatile. There is no guarantees in this. So come along and make sure that you understand things like risk management, the less sexier part, of trading, but arguably the most important. The great Larry Williams himself, multiple Robbins Cup winner, was once called an abnormally or an anomaly of an exceptional trader. And he turned around and said, I'm actually a very average trader. I'm just an exceptional risk and money manager, which I still think is one of the best statements I've ever heard and a very, very true one. So come along, be great to see you over there. I will be live again on Wednesday. We'll be back with our live trading sessions as well. Jackie, hello, mate. Call me Sledge. Very welcome. Very welcome. Have a fantastic week ahead, guys. You can find everything you need down in the description. I look forward to seeing many of you over at the Nest tomorrow, when we'll be picking up our live trading sessions in the afternoon from about 12:15 UTC. Wishing you all a fantastic week ahead. Appreciate you all too. Take care, guys.